From sky-high inflation to our unaffordable housing market, if there's one thing millennials know, it is who to blame. Boomers. But boomers aren't buying it.
Boomers have been a scapegoat for a very, very long time. And you know what? It's getting a bit boring.
Millennials told to quit bagging better off boomers. Leave boomers alone! Their complaints, not just boring, they're not even original.
As a boomer myself, I can remember how we blamed our parents' generation for being conservative and stuffy and oppressive and so on and so forth.
The intergenerational jousting labelled an unwelcome distraction from important debates on economic inequality.
It's not really a generational war. It's one of rich versus poor. That's the one that is really playing out.
This is not the fault of baby boomers. But we do need to consider where the responsibility lies here by way of how people vote. And we know that the largest concentration, until only recently, of voters has been among those baby boomers and older.
Baby boomers arguably just born at the right time.
Baby boomers had it pretty sweet. Generations now are lumped with an uncertain future. Job insecurity, home ownership is so out of reach, it's a joke.
The costs, not just economic, warnings that unless things change, communities could fracture.
Inequality is a threat to the social fabric of Australia. It is everybody's business. It should be everybody's concern.
And while boomers might still be in the firing line, it's younger generations who are now in positions of power.
Our state premiers and indeed our Prime Minister, none of them are baby boomers. So why don't these Gen Xers and even Millennials who now run the show fix the problem?
Please! My money goes jiggle jiggle.
Do you think that they are being made to be scapegoats?
I will say this, as someone who's kind of more or less more on the edge of being a baby boomer, I'm not too sure, but it was dead easy when I was a young guy in my early 20s to buy a house. And
key difference.
I was when I was a C-grade radio reporter and my girlfriend was an enrolled nurse, we were able to buy a house for basically our gross income twice.
Wow.
And that bought you a house. I bought a first place in Perth and then we moved to Melbourne. We bought another place and we didn't have to sell the first one.
Wow.
And still in our early 20s on basic
I'm just going
wages.
to fact check that for you because you've never been a C-grade reporter.
God bless you, man. God bless you. But because I do feel the unfairness of that. Because I recently saw the same house I bought in Port Melbourne in 1987 was for sale for $1.9 million. Now, there are no 20-year-olds without family help on ordinary wages who can possibly buy that. So that part of that is absolutely dead true. And given so much of wealth is bound up in property, boomers have had the benefit of that. Of course, there are homeless older Australians, so not everyone was on that up escalator, but the opportunity was there.
You know what I think is interesting? As the baby boomer generation are beginning to retire and they're getting access to their superannuation, they're one of the first generations who have had superannuation for, 20, 30 years now. They're getting, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year tax-free at a time when that and that is what is is driving inflation as well.
But you can't take that off. They've earned that money.
No, of course. I'm not. It would be psycho for me to say let's take their superannuation and make it fund my mortgage.
The trick is that if they put taxes on that now, that'll fall on your super when it comes due to you.
Yeah, I would
so
like
whenever
that,
you say, we've got to tax that super, and then you go, hang on a minute.
Yeah, because the millennials, we're going to become the boomers.